Well, hello and welcome to something slightly different. Twice the fun today. We've got a dual manual, two manual keyboard organ, made by Hammond. Yay! You come on. When you talk of musical royalty, Hammond has got to be at the top of the list, hasn't it? I mean, it's been with us for so many years, and it's the standard everybody works towards. Before I go any further, I have to say a massive, literally this big, thanks to Tony at Bonner's Music, who has kindly supplied this for me to try and review and have a look through. And the reasoning behind my request to have a look at this was that every video I've seen, it's all that sort of jazz. And I'm not that sort of musician. I never have been. Don't get me wrong. If you was to shove me on one of these and with a band, I would probably, I'd probably just come into my own. But it's not something that I play at home, and it's not something that obviously you all guys know that I have a range of keyboards, and I have this love, really big, massive, stupid love for my Genos, and I have done since Genos came out. Genos 2 is just wow. But I was thinking to myself, what if I did want to go back and have a look at the organ? I mean, I grew up playing organ. I'm an organist. That's what I am. Apart from other things everybody else calls me, but I don't believe those names. So the idea was that I wanted to look at this and think, well, hang on, if I wanted to connect this to my Genos, what would it offer me? Because you see all these videos, there's actually a guy, unfortunately, I'm so upset with myself, but there's a chap on YouTube, and if you find it, you'll immediately spot him. I wish I could give him some credit, because it was his video that I saw and thought, oh my God, he's got one of these on an A-frame stand with a Genos above. I thought, oh, that looks nice. Looks like a good solution, because it gives you the ability to have these really, there's nothing better. These are butter. Hammond drawbars. And this thing is tiny. It's smaller than my Genos. It really is just unbelievably small. So if you wanted to have this at home with your Genos above or by the side of you, it takes up minimal space. And I kid you not, it is absolutely tiny. Which I'm going to go on to other things later. The size, there's things that I want to discuss. But anyway, first thing first. I know this can obviously replicate the whole B3, C3, all the organs that Hammond have. The only one, and this is another bugbear of mine, and I don't understand why Hammond aren't acknowledging that they used to make a H100. Had those extra drawbars. Now, it was a phenomenal sound. It still is a phenomenal sound, because another company, would you believe, other than Hammond, has recreated their voices and done a really great job of it. Why hasn't Hammond got an option on here for H? Why are there not extra drawbars for H? I don't know. I'm not a Hammond sort of geek. I'm not from the Hammond community. I'm far from the Hammond community. But it just doesn't make sense to me that an organ sound that is different. And if you look at all these clones, everything's a clone of C3, B3, I don't understand why the H has been ignored. So, Hammond, if you're watching this, please, come on, dig up your history, look at your past, and give us the sounds that are really quite unique. And that's the great thing with the H. It created such an amazing sound. So no, I'm not detracting from the fact that this thing it's very, very good. Before we even start, the build quality is this. Whoever's made it, it's just stunning, absolutely stunning. I was quite sort of taken back, because I didn't realise, obviously the Hammond thing is these sort of tinged yellow sort of keys, and I'd kind of forgotten about them. So when I took it out, I thought, what the hell? And of course they have this Hammond iconic sort of, I don't know. I don't even know what you call it. Is it cigarette smoke stained keys, beer stained? Because I mean, Hammond used to be in every pub and club when I was a kid. I mean, that was my first experience of Hammond. When I first came to the organ scene, there was a Hammond on the stage. I think it was a H100. Yeah, it was the first thing I ever saw. I didn't particularly like it in terms of my own taste because, of course, I'd been brought up on electronic organ, so it had all these things like clarinets and flutes, and it was, yeah, very different to a Hammond. A Hammond is a real organ. So anyway, yeah, here we are. So this section here is for the upper drawbars, and of course we've got the feel of these is absolutely lovely. They are smooth as butter. They don't have that ratchety feel that other drawbars do. You with me? When you sort of push them and you hear click, 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 click. There's none of that. These are just smooth, super smooth faders, like similar to on the Genos. Right, so the first thing that when I turned this on, this was the first thing that I thought, what's it doing? Is it updating? It was slow to boot up. I think it's about 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes. It just feels like a lifetime watching the screen go from 0 to 100. That was my first little niggle, but that's nothing. Once it's on, and that's your job. So going back to, again, bit of my history, I used to sell organs in organ stores. They had a range of Hammond organs, and these little tabs. Now, the buttons themselves don't feel like the old Hammond tabs that they had on the old Spinet organs. They were still electronic, still digital, but these have got more of like a click to them. They were like just a soft tab that would come on and off. So they feel a bit more sort of responsive is the word. But the thing that this is my don't get me wrong, as I'm going to go through this, I'm going to show you all the sounds until but this is just I can't accept it. It's my watch screen is probably near the size of this thing. It's too small. It's absolutely ridiculously too small. I don't know who in the design or development team at Hammond came up with the idea of sticking a watch screen on here, but yeah, I mean, I've got to look because I've seen other drawbar portable organs, and I've seen that they don't even have this. So I suppose this is a step up from something like a Nord, where you've got 2 lines of text, which is just absolutely ridiculous in this day and age. I would have preferred the idea of having a slot where you put your iPad, and the iPad acts as your screen, and it just connects by a digital cable. This just doesn't cut the mustard, but it's there, so we're stuck with it. But the thing that we're bearing in mind here is what it sounds like, and it sounds really good. Obviously, you've got the drawbars on the left, so I can move those up and down an octave if I want to. I can turn the organ off. I can put an ensemble on the left. And then I've got control here for things like strings. And this hasn't just got drawbars in it. It's got lots and lots of, and I tell you this now, really great sounds in it. They aren't just like somebody's stuck a general MIDI sort of set of voices in here. They are good, really nice quality sounds. So there's 4 buttons. There's organ, piano, ensemble, and synth. Now the synth controls this section over here that is a mono synth. It's a lot of fun. And of course you've got real-time controls. You can play with that to your little heart's content. Very retro, very, very, it's just nice. And of course, that's independent of the ensemble, the piano, and the organ. So you've got 4 engines, as you would call them, in here. So I'm going to turn the synth off and I'm going to go into the piano. Now, I've seen conflicting reviews of the piano on YouTube, and this is one of the reasons why I thought, oh, I'm going to have a look at this. And again, thank you to Tony from Bonner's. Bonner's Music, Hammond UK specialist. You can't get better. And that's where this has come from. But the piano voices in here are very, very, very nice. Now over here is the reverb control for the organ. So what I can do is hold my finger on it, and you probably can't see on this dinky little thing. But I'm using my 3x zoom glasses to see it. In the piano section, you can actually adjust the level of the reverb. Now you're thinking to yourself, why the bloody hell is he demonstrating a piano when it's an organ? Well, I'm showing you because up until this point, I've not seen these sort of standard of voices. And the other thing as well is, with your left hand, you don't, again, the way I would be using this is with an arranger keyboard or something that's going to give me a module to give me some backing. I'm not playing it live with a band. That's not the way I would use this. As I said to you, I've seen so many videos sort of talking jazz and doing all the whole sort of, wow, here it is and this is what it is, and talking big about the whole jazz style of playing, but not everybody plays like that. And one of the things I wanted to try and create with this particular instrument is the sound of Wunderlich. Now, anybody who's a Klaus Wunderlich fan will know that Klaus did use Hammond. So I did a bit of fiddling about with it. And a friend of mine, a lovely chap called Jason Lee, and you probably all know him as Organaut, really first-class guy, knows his Hammond inside out. I sort of said to him, can you recreate Wunderlich stuff on here? And he said, oh, yeah, if you have to sort of go in and have a mess around. And so, of course, that then leads me into this sort of rabbit hole that you start looking, if I change this and I change that and I change this. So I'm going to eventually come to this, but the organ is a section on its own. So when you press the play button on the main menu, you can press it and toggle through different screens, tiny screens, which I hasten to add. So I can go through my organ voices, and I've saved somewhere, there we go, a voice called Wunderlich. And I was amazed that I could get this sort of sound out of what I thought was a jazz instrument, but it can recreate that sort of famous Wunderlich sound from the Hammond. And I just thought this is good. This is very, very good. And of course, once you've got this setting, you can save it. And I've managed, don't get me wrong, I had to watch, this is the other thing, the handbook for this. I know it's a retro instrument and I know Hammond is a vintage company, but to send the handbook out in Times New Roman, I know I'm picking fault, but Times New Roman font, it's the most unpleasant font to read. And I say this as a graphic design company. Use a bloody modern font, please. Not everybody wants to read Times New. It's such a horrible thing to read. modernize your font, make it streamlined, and the manual does need, the instructions do need to be simplified, made it more sort of user friendly. It reads like, it takes your time. So anyway, I bypassed the manual, jumped onto YouTube, and found the most bizarre presentation video ever. It's an American chappie who sits and, "Hi, I'm from Hammond, USA," and goes through this bizarre instruction where he tells me what to do. Right, you're going to go and play the piano now, and I'll come back in 5. And the screen, this dial, turns to counts down. I thought, what the hell's this doing? Right, now we're going to go into ensemble. And he goes, I kid you not, have a look. I think it's called A Guide to SKX. It's the Hammond company needs some younger blood in there who know how to tutor and educate about their products, because they're just bloody bizarre. So anyway, going back to this, being able to recreate these lovely I thought, this is ticking my box. This is exactly what I've been after. And these are stunning voices. And then I can press a button here that says lower, and I can assign any of these other 4 parts also to the lower manual. So if I go to ensemble, there is this lovely string legato voice. It's getting there, isn't it? So I thought to myself, this is the one. Now, the key thing here, over here, you've got a mode button, so you can switch between different models. So you've got V2, C2, V1, C1. Now, if you disable or bypass the Leslie, so toggle through those again. You cannot get this sort of sound. I've not heard, well, I say you cannot get, I mean, it's quite a sweeping statement, isn't it? It's like I'm setting the gauntlet. I cannot get, I've not heard this sort of quality of sound from any other product. I have not, ever. These are incredible. And again, go through the different organ tone. C2, V3, the V3, the vibrato. And of course, I can kick in the Leslie, so I can go to fast. But then I kind of lose that authenticity of the Wunderlich sound. So if I use bypass and don't go through the Leslie, now, I'm going to do another video on the SKX with the Genos, and I'm going to MIDI up the two and show you how nice these two play together. If you're an organist, and I've said this in another video that I've made for another location, which I'm not going to divulge, but if you're an organist and you're looking for this sort of vintage organ sound that you grew up with Wunderlich and Lambert and all that sort of thing, this is the thing you should be looking at. This is the instrument. I can forgive this postage stamp of an LCD display. I mean, don't get me wrong, if I met somebody from Hammond, I would probably throw it at them. because it's just the most stupid thing. But I can forgive this for this. It gives you that real classy sort of, and again going through a different model to C3. Those sort of sounds. The V1 has a slightly less traumatic vibrato. Hear the difference? Let's go back to the V3. It's there. And don't forget that, again, I'm sort of referring back to arranger keyboards. You'll get a simulation of one of these voices. But this isn't a simulation. This is the real deal. You can change the drawbars. So you have this really great control. Now, I bet nobody's shown you this because, again, I scoured the web. I've looked. I thought, I've got to find if you can do this sort of tone on a Hammond. And I thought, well, why the hell wouldn't you? Because Hammond is the company that did this product. So to have this amazing control. So, you know, if I want a multi-track, there's some voices that I can bring in, and you've got really such an incredible paint palette to create sounds with. I mean, you can't get better. This is, I was going to say it's a 10. It's not a 10 because this upsets me so much. It's not a 10. It's close, but I'm not even going to give it a score because it would be so unfair, because whoever did this, like I say, sack them. Right, so lower drawbars. We've got drawbars on the left. Obviously, I'm going with this sort of string sound because I'm playing it like a traditional organ that in fact, probably you watching it, you probably thought, I used to play something with those sort of sounds. You've got them here, and there's Solina strings in here, which again, if you're playing the Klaus stuff, they are there. They're ready for you to go. You've got percussion over here. Again, soft. Or you can have fast. Third. Well, let's turn it up. Yeah. So, right now, this is what I'm going to tell you, that the other chink in this instrument's armor. I really don't like how this works. This whole favorites and making sounds, it just does not make any nice, easy life sense whatsoever. In fact, even in the video, the guy that tells you about, and he goes, right now I'm going to show you how to save your face. And he refers to it on the lines of something on the lines of, it's not, I mean, he basically hints it's not easy to do. But you know, you'll find your way around. I think, why are you telling people that this isn't brilliant? And it isn't. It really isn't, because the way it works, and it's taken me some time to get my head around this, and I normally sit. Do you know? Just to give you an idea, I actually went in and managed to find out how to turn key click off, which is not easy. I found that easier than actually saving my creation in terms of voice and then trying to find where it was. I think this really, anybody at Hammond who maybe is watching this video needs to have a serious look at how you store your sounds and the way that this sound creation system works in terms of these layers. I don't, by all means have 4 layers, but you're going to need a bigger screen to understand what's going on. And I did wonder, I wonder if I can plug a monitor in here or something bigger, but no, you can't even do that. So the way this works, right, okay, so if you press the play button, you can toggle through different menus, right? So the main menu is this, where it says combination. So the combination name is effectively what the registration consists of. So here I've got Wunderlich, which is a voice I've made and saved, and then underneath there's grand piano, legato strings, which are showing as on, because obviously they're not faded out. They're there. If I was to have bass pedals connected, which at the moment I haven't, but I will have, then they would also show as obviously being active. So these are the 2 things that I've got triggered. So then what you need to do is you need to save that combination into a favourite. Are you with me? No, I'm sure you're not, because even I'm not. It's just absolutely, truly horrible. And then once you've done that, you've got these favourites. So you've got bang. I mean, this is so antiquated. It needs to be, I mean, okay, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's Hammond, 1960s and all that, blah, 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 blah. That's fine, keep that, but the way people operate and work isn't from 1960. And the thinking behind this seems like somebody from Hammond, who's probably been there from day one, has thought, oh, I'm not changing this, I like the way this works. The rest of the world doesn't, but I do. So what you've got to do is save them into favourites, and you've got 10 banks. It's just so bafflingly old-fashioned. You've got 10 banks of favourites. Each bank has 10 combinations / registrations. So once you've saved, so now if I wanted to save that, I would press record. I would go to, where are we? Do you know, I can't even remember now. Oh, no, hang on, no, because I'm in voice, that's why. Let me just come out of there. Go to there. No, not in there. You see what I'm talking about? This is not organ patch. Right, okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to go back again because I just simply cannot remember how this stupid system works. I watched the video twice as well, and I managed to get. Like I said to you, this is a big pile of steaming. But anyway, let's move on. So over here you've got this synth section, which obviously you can change and set your voices into the instrument. It's a nice thing to have. It really does complement the voices with the organ as well. But my point of this video is to look at again, I'm looking at the organ side of things really with this one, and trying to emulate those sounds that the old home organs had. Not stage organ. And it's there, you've got it. The sounds are here. So you can create those really great sort of pop organ sounds, as I call them. The sort of, not, I wouldn't say Euro because that's the sort of German organ sound. This is the sound that you had when Klaus used to play the Hammond, and this is a Hammond. So, you know, the voices are there. I don't know whether, I'm not going to show you the orchestral voices for this video because that will be in the next one because it'll complement the Genos. Because the fact, as I say to you, you can have strings in the lower. I can go into my lower voice if I want to, and I can pick choir. Oh, one thing I am going to show you, and this again was a real sort of that's nice moment. That wasn't nice. Where is it? Again, there's no logic to your register. If you were to sort of put some voices in here, you'd have to have a notepad and a pen to even begin to find them. It's just the most horrific system. And yeah, as I said to you, Hammond, you should be utterly ashamed because you've created a great product and you've failed to work on the main interface that is going to put the customer off. This would put me right off if I sat in the showroom. I wouldn't know what the hell I'm doing here. This is just so messy. So, you know, but like I say to you, I can forgive some things because it's got the sound that I want. And there aren't many out there that can do that. I'm just trying to find this. It's got lots of classical sort of organy sounds. Whoa. But there was one where, let me have a look, see if I can find it. Oh, there we go. Macrocosmos. To listen, I thought, what the hell? How is this creating this sort of? But there's a little soft pipe organ there, and then here. It's a hell of a sound. And then we go and dig up some sort of soprano singer and so there you go. She's off to bed now. What a great. Now I've heard lots of instruments having this sort of soprano vocalist. Verzi have got it. Roland had it. Korg have got it. I've got a cough. Yamaha don't have anything like this in their instrument as standard. There was a pack where they bought one of these sort of soprano vocalist out, but this is the best one I've heard. It's a lot of fun in it. That's all it is. It's fun. But what I'm showing you is this is so much more than just a drawbar organ. Very, very, very much so. It's really just, it's great. For sounds, for all of the things that you would expect from an instrument, this ticks the box. It really does. The brass is great. The synth pads are great. I'm going to cover these in another video. Because, like I say, I want to connect the Genos 2 to this and have some backing that I can play along with. But the one thing that, as I said to you, the only really frustrating thing is the way that it stores your favourites and your settings and this tiny postage stamp of a screen. It's a joke. And if they bring out an SKX Pro Mark II, with, even if it's just double the size, I mean, these could have been, these white, let's say creamy coloured, allocation buttons could have been half the depth. This could have been brought down. That would have then given you the space for a better sized screen. This is dead space here. This is dead space here. Why didn't they do it? The cost of a screen is pennies. It's not expensive. So costs can't have been an issue. So what was the reasoning? I don't know. I really don't know. Either that or the interface for the instrument hasn't been fully developed. And this is a stopgap. I don't know. Do you know? Does anybody know? Have you got some sort of inside information on Hammond that I don't? I do know that I do like this. Don't get me wrong. I think the fact that I can emulate the old Hammond stuff is just brilliant. I can go in and add sustain, so I can do all those nice sort of sustain notes. It's very nice. Comes in a wooden finish on the ends. I'm sure I've seen a black one of these, and I think the ends actually come off, so you could change them. And I bet, don't repeat me on this, but I bet if I took these off, I could get them sprayed, sort of like a nice gloss finish, and then put them back on. I don't think Tony at Bonner's may be quite so happy with me if I did that. But let's see what I send him back, because it could be an upgraded one of these. So before I go anywhere else, I've got to say a massive thank you to Tony at Bonner's Music. If you are looking for Hammond, there ain't no better store to go to. I think he's the main distributor for the UK, and I can understand why. Because, as I said to you, even for the little quirks or disappointments of this, the rest of this thing is just woo. It does all the jazz. I mean, I'm not even going to cover that because of the videos. Much more qualified jazz organist than me. I mean, I'm I don't do that. But what I do is recreate this. I want to recreate this sort of Wunderlich sound, which, as I said to you, I've managed to be able to do. It didn't take me long. I'll give credit where credit's due. It's pretty damn easy to operate. Just trying to remember where to go to find the damn thing. We go there, don't we? And that's where we go. Right, so scroll back to... Where did it go? Oh, there we go. It just sounds like the sound. But of course it will do, because it's a Hammond, you know. It's great. It really is. Please, Hammond, sort the screen out. Right, I'm going to go and leave you. I've been rambling on about this for 40 minutes. I didn't intend to do that, but like I said to you, there is so much in here. I've literally just peeled over the first layer of the onion because there's so many levels to this. And this is the other thing that upsets me, is because there's so many menus and so many layers and things, but you're looking at it on the world's tiniest screen. For a musical instrument of this, you know, I'd expect better. I really did. But anyway, apart from that, say thank you to Tony and Bonner's Music. And until next time, look after yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.